Hola familia, I'm Rosaline and this is Growing Up Spanglish, a podcast about the chaos of being raised between two cultures. If you grew up speaking English at school and Spanish at home, navigating traditions, family expectations, and everything in between, then you're in the right place. Our stories, our experiences, and maybe a little chisme along the way. This podcast is recorded at Collab Studios in the heart of Miami. So let's kick it off with the word of the day, your favorite thing.
I got one right last week. I can't
did.
remember the exact word right now, but I remember that it means chill.
Chévere.
Chévere.
Yeah.
Chévere. Hey, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
This week I'm very chévere.
You're very chévere?
I'm very chill this week, man.
Okay, awesome. So we've got a new word of the day.
Yes.
And this time the word is pertenencia.
What? Pertenencia?
Marcel opens up about what it feels like to grow up without a strong sense of pertenencia to his culture, his language, or even his identity.
Ooh, personality? No, not personality. Because you said, read the sentence one more time, please.
Marcel opens up about what it feels like to grow up without a strong sense of pertenencia to his culture, his language, or even his identity.
Connection?
It's pretty good. It's not the correct.
It's not the right word. Pertenencia.
You're pretty close.
I'm gonna say if it's not connection, it's self-knowledge, awareness.
You're along the right vein.
Give me the definition.
Okay,
please,
pertenencia means belonging.
Belong. You know what's crazy is I didn't even think about it. Anyway, I didn't even. I'm not gonna lie to you. That word did not come to mind.
Belonging. Okay.
Belonging.
Strong sense of belonging.
It works though. It works in the sense.
Absolutely.
How do you spell that for the folks at home?
Sure, pertenencia is Pertenencia.
Pertenencia. Am I saying it right? Pertenencia.
Pertenencia. Like pretense, but pertenencia.
Pertenencia.
Ooh,
I
that
appreciate
note,
it. Hey.
we're going to kick things off and introduce this week's guest.
Let's go.
So I'm really excited about the conversation we're going to have because we have been going in this direction this entire season. And basically the question that we've been asking is, what happens when you grow up technically Hispanic, but never really like you're allowed to claim it? Today on Growing Up Spanglish, we're sitting down with Marcel Ledoux, a talented vocalist, artist, and storyteller who was raised by his Peruvian mother, but spent years feeling like he had to hide or downplay that part of himself. Marcel talks about what it was like navigating life without a deep connection to his culture, the guilt he felt claiming an identity that didn't feel fully his, and how a therapist helped him name something he'd never said out loud, an identity crisis that shaped his entire sense of self. So whether you've ever felt not enough, caught between cultures, or unsure where you fit, this conversation is for you. Let's welcome Marcel.
Really great. Wow. Your intros have been very on point.
So welcome to the show.
Thank you. Timing is always everything. We talked about this, I think, during season 1, and I think y'all were getting your feet wet, figuring this out and the direction of everything. And again, timing is everything. It happens when it's supposed to happen.
Yes.
That's it.
I'm so glad that we get to talk about this because Marcel and I have known each other for literally decades.
Yeah.
And while I knew that you were Hispanic, I did not know what your nationality was.
Right.
I had no idea that you didn't speak Spanish, that you didn't identify as Hispanic or Peruvian. So it's always so fun to have conversations with people you've known forever about topics that have just never come up. Because we've talked about a lot of things.
Oh, yeah.
And then it's just, I didn't know this about you. So I'm really happy to be diving into this with you. And we'll just start things off with talking about your heritage and that sense of not wanting to claim it. So growing up, did you grow up with a Peruvian culture in your household?
Yeah, so I think that's where it stems from, is why I never claimed it. One, it was out of respect as well. The only cousin that I have is older than me is my cousin Dante, and he was born in Peru and then came here when he was younger. And he's told me about some of the things that he went through in his youth over there in that country. Once his parents got here and some of my aunts and uncles got here, grew our cousins and family. My abue, we call her abuela, abue for short, she was Peruvian. She would constantly try to speak Spanish to myself and my sisters and stuff like that. It just never stuck because my father was Italian, white Italian, born in New York. My abue always would try to impose it. It just never stuck. I think it just had to do with the male dominant household of my father being American and speaking only English. But yeah, I never really, like, out of respect for my cousins who are darker than me, who have an accent, who potentially deal with things that I never had to deal with, prejudices that I never had to deal with because of the way I looked. I did not look Hispanic whatsoever. So I never really claimed it, never really had a strong cultural understanding of like my Peruvian heritage in my households. That was like the catalyst of who I became as like a kid and a teenager.
It's interesting because I remember there being some controversy of in racial relations, if you were talking about it, right? If your dad was black, you'd be considered black. And that just be like, even if your mom was white, you'd still be looked at as like just black. And it doesn't matter if you're like white passing. Once they realized one parent is X, Y, and Z. But I felt like in a lot of cultures, it leaned that way.
Yeah.
Whatever your dad was what you are, which I think makes a lot of sense in your situation. The house bent to where my dad was versus bending to where my mom was. Did your mom ever actively try to even give you some of that, though your dad was like predominantly American?
When we were growing up, my Peruvian side of my family, my mom's side of the family was very tapped in with one another. Birthdays, holidays, like when you talk about every Hispanic family has those parties that go till 5, 6 in the morning, the cousins all sleep in one bed in one room and wake up the next day and enjoy the weekend. Like we definitely had those cultural experiences. Like the Peruvian side of my family was never like lost on me. I was very understanding of who they were, how they got here, etc. But in terms of my mom imposing any kind of like cultural understanding, I want to say my recollection is no, but maybe because I just was not, when we're kids and we're just not picking it up. We're not interested in it. We just want to watch Power Rangers and Ninja Turtles, and that's all we care about when we're that age. So there could have been that, but my recollection is no, it wasn't strongly imposed. There wasn't like a, hey, let's sit down and learn about where I came from. You know what I'm saying? Because my mom was born in Peru and came here to the States, first moved to Jersey, and then down here to South Florida. It's not like she was born here in the States. And coming into this, I was just like, man, I like trying to think about my childhood and where the disconnect was. Like there was a lot of disconnect. I don't think it was ill intent or
even using the word disconnect, right? Because that feels like there's some intention behind it. When it comes to the Hispanic journey or even just the immigrant experience is assimilation. And that's really just what it is.
I think by the time my mom had me, I think if I could guess, if I could answer for her, maybe the journey of being an immigrant, she was so far removed from
that.
You know what I'm saying? So yeah, we went through this, but it was almost like an afterthought. Our lives are already established here in America, specifically here in South Florida, and we're just going to focus on raising you. Then my sisters came, and that was like the focus. It was just looking forward.
You do have a lot of families that's just the route they take, even like subconsciously. We're gonna speak English. I don't have to force the kids to watch Spanish television. I'm wondering, was she making Peruvian food at home?
My mom, not so much. My grandmother, though, definitely. I fell in love with lomo saltado. Our palate changes as we grow older. And I was very Americanized. I was such an American kid. I grew up with McDonald's and Happy Meals and shit like that. And it wasn't until, I want to say my teens, where I was just like starting to like really enjoy abue's cooking. Some of those traditional dishes. And even still now, there's things that I've never tried. I'm like, oh, what's that? And I'm curious. I'm not a big seafood person, but I'm like, you know what?
Which is crazy.
I'll try it.
Yeah.
And see if I like them. So even still now in my big ass age, I'm still like open to trying these things because again, it's about connecting with this culture that I did not grow up with and was not like established in. I'm really open to trying new dishes now that are part of the Peruvian culture.
And I'm curious if you ever went back to visit.
No,
Never.
Ironically enough, we do have plans this year, but like typical Hispanics, we're procrastinating. But the goal is to do a big cousins trip and go back with everybody because our elders are getting older to where these experiences are not going to be able to happen. We want to take advantage while we can. So the goal is to go back there. And the special thing about this trip was my mom has not been back in a very long time too. We were trying to bring her back as well. Hopefully going to make it happen.
Yeah, God willing. I hope that happens too, because I think it's such an important part of your identity and your story. And it would be beautiful to share that experience with your mom, especially now as an adult, and just be able to have those real conversations with your
Yeah.
parents that you're like sometimes afraid to have as a child, or maybe not even afraid, but you're just not even cognizant enough to be like,
Yeah,
hey,
nah.
mom, how did you get here? You know what I mean?
Bro, we're selfish. Humans are just naturally selfish.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So again, going back to what I stated earlier, when you're a kid, you're only worried about going outside, watching cartoons, playing
Right.
video games and stuff like that. And
You also don't, at least for me, I don't know if you had the same experience. I didn't see my parents outside of the role they played in my life. I didn't see them as individuals who had entire lives before they had me, who still had individual needs outside of being a parent figure. I learned a lot about my dad because my dad was just a storyteller in the house, and my mom too.
Yeah.
But I can't recall that I ever was intrigued enough to be like, so what did this happen? It came from my dad always like sharing all these stories.
Sometimes oversharing.
It happens a lot, right? Like transparently, your parents become parents and then they forget like
Their identity.
yeah, your kid should be or should know. Hey, I used to be him. I don't know what you're talking about. I don't know what type of time you think I was on. And I think part of that is because of the immigrant travel story to some degree, in the sense of you might not come with your aunts and uncles. You might not come with your best friends.
Yeah.
So there's no one to even reminisce about things growing up with.
Absolutely.
To be able to, for your kid to be around and hear the story from your uncle about how you hopped the fence or ran from your dog or did something back in the day. Like you was a knucklehead. You weren't always this responsible adult.
Right.
Well put together.
Yeah,
Exactly.
I think as we age, there is a little bit of an appreciation of some of those simpler times. While there was trials and tribulations, there was struggles for immigrants, I think those times also represented simpler things, like the value of just existing. And I think as the world gets a lot more complicated and a lot more difficult, nostalgia is a thing for all of us. Always like to go back to simpler times. And again, while those times came with some difficulties, there was also some simple, beautiful things. So I think it's a lot of that. It's just, let me remind you who I was before you popped out in the world.
Yeah.
I remember reading once, and it was such an aha moment for me, that there are 3 types of people. There are people who constantly live in the past. So the good old days. I remember when
Back in the day.
there's people who live constantly in the future and worrying about the next step and the next thing and what's
Hi, my name's
supposed to
Kovi. I'm
happen.
that person.
Yeah.
And then there's the person who's only worried about the now and the present.
Yeah. So I'm going to interview you for a second. Where do you fall in that? Because I know where I fall in that description.
Yeah.
And I want you to answer, where do you fall in that?
I would admittedly say that currently right now there is an evolution occurring within my life, where for the
love
past,
that.
yes, I would say like for the past 3 years, I was living in the past. I was trying to hold on to the comfort of a lot of things in my life. And it stems from me having control issues. Currently, right now, with the steps that I'm going to be taking next, I'm, for the first time like ever in life, in a space where I do not know what's going to happen, and I'm so excited about it. And you know how sometimes you keep trying to do a thing and it doesn't work out? And then you finally realize that, oh, God has been slapping me in the face. Oh, you keep wanting to open that door? All right. What you want is not coming through the door. Bitch, I'm coming through the door and knocking some sense into you. And so I'm like,
You want to open the door? I'm going to open the door for you.
I'm going to open it. I'm going to be on that side. What's up? And so I was like, oh, that's why that thing.
Yeah.
Oh, I get it now. I get it. And through a lot of prayer, asking God to reveal the next steps and give me some clarity. And then once that came through, I was just like, okay, like I'm really excited. I learned. I got to let that go. You got to let things go to evolve.
Yeah.
And so now I would say that I'm in between that present and future. I'm wanting to be aware of the moment and appreciate the moments, but I'm also really excited for what's around the corner, because you know when you feel it, the electricity in the air and things are about to pop off?
Like something is on the other side of this.
Yes, that's where I'm at.
And I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. What about you?
So I would say the kind of person that I am in regards to that is I'm future focused. I'm definitely one of the people who is like always looking at, okay, what's next? I don't really enjoy accomplishments in real time. I don't enjoy wins in real time. I'm very much like, that happened, moving on, next thing. It's like a trauma response, really. This ain't what I wanted to be. I can't change this right now. So what I'm going to do is do whatever I need to do to be better, for tomorrow.
Absolutely.
Or the day after, or the thing. Now I have a son. Things are happening in my life that are beautiful. I want to be more of a now person, especially like after reading like Eckhart's Holy Power of Now. There's so much in just living in jest of right now. This is what I can control. These are the things that are in focus for me. It's a challenge, dog. Yeah, it's a real challenge.
And the reason I wanted to ask y'all that, because I could give y'all my response as well, is because a lot like the love languages, how everybody, what's your love language? Like, I don't think you are supposed to identify with a certain or certain love languages forever. I think it's an evolution. As we change, who you are during one period of life in terms of your love languages can change. And I think that's a beautiful thing about life, is we're allowed to change. So the same thing with what kind of person are you in terms of past, present, future. I think a few years ago, I was very much a past-driven person. I think I lived with a lot of regret. I had some resentment towards my father. There was struggles where as a man, I would be like, I wish my father would have taught me this, and because by now I'd be better at this thing and stuff like that. So there were a lot of times where I really dwelled on the past, and then I took my ass to therapy and talked through it. And I think now I'm a little bit more, while I still kind of stress, now I'm a little bit more present / forward thinking, where there's times where I feel that the past thoughts creeping in, and some of that, I'm like, nope. I think the quirky sayings, live life with no regrets. I think regret is okay. I think looking back and being like, damn, I should have did that. You know what I'm saying? I think that's fine. I think that's, again, a part of your human experience. Where regret starts to become a little bit troublesome is if it takes over your whole existence, your whole current. Try to honor things that I wish I did with just saying, damn, I wish I did this, and saying, that's it. That's the extent of this thought. I'm not going to allow it to become present. I'm not going to allow it to affect the future, because everything I do now affects tomorrow, and yesterday affected today. So what can I do different today that I didn't do yesterday to have a better tomorrow? And that's where I'm at this point in my life. And that's why I asked.
I have a question in regards to the regret is okay.
Yeah.
I'm okay with regret being okay is if it forces you to go do things now.
Yeah.
Because I regretted X, Y, and Z, now I want to live like even harder.
Damn, I regret not going to this concert. Next time I have a doubt about going to this concert, I'm going to this concert. Regret can be very layered. It can be very deep. And I'm speaking on it in a very, I guess, surface level way. But even in a deep way, like, you literally have to train yourself to be like, even a deep thought of, damn, I regret doing something that was very meaningful and stuff like that. To your point, moving forward, hey, remember you regretted not doing this, or you regretted doing this. So how about we look at this next thing as the opposite, the inverse? What if we do it or don't do this? What's the outcome?
Yeah.
I appreciate you bringing that up, because I think that context is important. Like, regret being okay. It's, what is the progress of...
Right, what did you learn from that situation?
Absolutely.
Because I do think about it in that same context. I think we have been programmed, I don't know where it came from,
They're called, to me, the colloquialisms.
Yeah,
like time
live
heals,
life with no regrets.
Time heals all wounds and shit like that. I think it's quirky Hallmark saying our parents, our grandparents, they did what they could with what they had. And I think that's where these sayings came from. You know what I'm saying? To me, time heals all wounds is such an irresponsible thing to say, because time doesn't heal
It actually
wounds.
doesn't.
It does not at all, It's the work, the intentional work that you do to heal the wounds that you have. Like, time can potentially help in healing the wounds.
What happens is more memories are built, and so this one just continues to get repressed. And then because you didn't actually do any of the work, one day you're gonna blow up.
You're gonna blow, exactly. And that's what I'm here for, challenging some of these things. And it's not to be angry at our parents or our grandparents. Oh, y'all didn't teach us shit, or y'all were wrong. It's just, this was something cute that y'all used to say, and we grabbed onto it, and we started saying it, but we really didn't break it down to the root of, this thing does not make sense. You know what I'm saying?
I'm curious, because you talked about having gone to therapy within the Hispanic community. Like, mental health is such a taboo topic. You don't really see parents often advocating for therapy and stuff like that. So having gone through your own journey and then having those little aha moments in relation to your parents, have you ever had these discussions with them about certain things? How does that conversation go, where you be like, My therapist said.
It's never, it's fun. It's never a my therapist said moment. I think it comes very natural and out of genuine curiosity for me. The first time I ever was in therapy, my father got locked up when I was 14. And at that time, my sisters were, if I could do some quick math, 10 and 9. And we did like a family therapy thing. And I remember at that time, I was like, I'm not going to therapy. Fuck this. This is stupid. Like, a therapist is just a regular person. Who does a therapist go when they need therapy? And I'm just like, how can I trust to talk to them that they're going to tell me or navigate me through this thing that we're going through? Looking back, I'm like, yo, like, why were you such a degenerate and rebel like against therapy? But I think that was just a response to what we were going and what me as the only male in the family was going through with losing my father for a good amount of time at probably that age where I think every young man needs a father. You know what I'm saying? What that would have looked like, unsure, but it was definitely a time where I felt like I needed him more than anything. And therapy was never a negative thing. I did not have the typical Hispanic experience. You know what I'm saying? And I think even my upbringing with my mom trying to navigate through being a single mom with her spouse incarcerated, I think she was trying to figure out her own shit. Us as preteens and teenagers were trying to figure out our own shit. Yes, there was parenting, but there was also exploration there. Like, we all had very
complicated time.
Yeah, it was a very complicated situation for all of us. We all took different paths, and it's what I love is there was never any big discussion about, oh, you should go to therapy or we should go to therapy. It's just one day, hey, I'm in therapy. Okay, cool. Oh, I'm in therapy too. Okay, cool. And it was just like a domino effect. So I think we as individuals felt like there was such a strong responsibility to talk through our individual experiences. If you talk to your siblings, y'all grew up in the same house.
Different experiences.
But your experiences are completely different, yo. Like, one child be like, oh, I had a great child. I'm like, yo, our shit sucked. Like, everyone had a different experience.
Yeah.
And what I love about my sisters and I is we were conscious enough, yo, like, our experiences were very different and we need to talk through. It's never, hey, my therapist said. It actually comes from a place of genuine curiosity of, yo, so what was it like growing up, blah, 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 blah. It really comes from a place of trying to work through some of these childhood things. So tell me what you went through, and this is me talking to my mom, what you went through to get to here and what was that like, yada, yada, because it could help me unlock some things that I've been trying to figure out.
And it could also help your mom.
Absolutely.
It could also be a moment of clarity, something that she's never thought about or talked about. It's a really beautiful experience.
Again, going back to something I said, I think us as humans, we are naturally born selfish. And I still think people in their big ass age are very selfish now. But that's why when you're in elementary school, you have to be taught to share. Why do we have to be taught to share? Because we're just naturally mine. And I think the human experience is about, you think you're going into something where, oh, I'm going to get something out of this, but maybe it's not about you getting something out of this. Maybe it's about the person you're speaking to getting something out of this. And I wish everyone approached a lot of situations like that, because sometimes these situations, these rooms that you go in, there might not be any gain in it for you. You can still enjoy your time. And you could be talking to somebody, someone be like, damn, that talk I had with this person really prompted me to think of this and stuff like that. To your point, like that, I'm going to therapy for myself, but this could also help my mom. It could help my sister. It could help my niece and nephew. Like, I'm responsible to help them grow up. So again, it is for me, but it to me, it's always about like, how am I getting better to make them better? And it's the same thing with my wife. I've made mistakes in previous relationships. How do I learn from them? How do I not make the same mistakes? How do I not fall into the same patterns? And so everything I do, again, while at the core is to help me, that's not lost on me. But I always think about, like, how is this affecting others, you know? The cool thing about our family is communication. Everyone talks about communication being important, right? I don't think it takes a lot of effort for anybody to express themselves. I don't think so. That's just my personal opinion. I think the reason people don't express themselves is because they're unsure of the space that their words and their thoughts are landing in.
That's valid.
For my family, while there's been some arguments here and there and stuff like that, it's never felt like an unsafe space to say things. So we speak very freely. Could be some judgment at first, but we talk through it and stuff like that. But I think that's the thing about communication is people need to understand people don't not want to communicate. They just want to feel like their thoughts, their heart, everything that they're saying is landing in a space that is judgment free, is where they feel seen. I have, and it took time, but my family has that now. But it took time. Like everything takes work. Every relationship, not only romantic relationships. My sisters and I had to work on our relationship. My mom and I had to work on our relationships, and we did the work individually. And when we get the ability to, we're doing the work collectively. And again, I think there's some regret, right, of wishing we had more attachment to our cultural background as we grew up, but we're making the best of it. We're figuring it out now. And again, that's the beautiful thing about life is, as long as your feet touch the ground and you have air in your lungs, you could change some of those things.
When you were talking about regret and not wanting to have it be such a negative thing, I do kind of function in that space of, I wouldn't necessarily say that I have regret towards decision or outcomes, but more so looking at it from the space of that person needed me to be that in that situation.
In that situation, yeah.
And so I'm not mad at it. I'm not mad at the outcome. Now, you could look at them and be like, now you're just a weirdo. But I'm never going to regret.
Regret could be, even the word, replace regret with wish. I wish.
Yeah, things had turned out differently.
Wish sounds a little bit lighter, right, than regret. But I think to me, it's in the same vein. Maybe I needed to be this person for that person, for whatever it needed to be. And again.
Or like when you lose $20 and you're like, someone out there needs that $20 more than me.
It sounds like self-soothing.
Fine. What I do to get by.
How do I go to sleep?
Yeah.
Self-soothing is what it sounds
How do I
like.
go to sleep?
I actually had a question for both of y'all, because you guys are talking about being specific people at a specific point for others, right? When you reach the age, whatever age was significant in your life with your parents, where you started to actually look at them as, I don't know if you got all the answers. When you reached that age in your life, did you look at them and have more grace now?
You're listening to Growing Up Spanglish, recorded right here at CoLab Studios in Miami. Whether you're launching a podcast, shooting video content, or leveling up your brand, CoLab has the space, gear, and community to make it happen. Fast turnaround time, pro setup, and a creative vibe you won't find anywhere else. Need a studio? Pull up to CoLab. Book your free tour today at letscollab.us. That's Let's Collab with 1L.us. Ahora, back to the show.
I'll never forget, I moved to Seattle. It's the first time I'm outside the house without my mom.
Off the porch.
I jumped off the porch. Right. I'm paying my first month's rent. I'll never forget. After I paid the first month's rent, I called my mom and was like, yo, thank you. And she was like, for what? And I was like, yo, I just paid my first month's rent, and you did that for however long I was alive with two siblings as a single mom.
Yeah.
So it gave me so much grace and so much perspective. She was bugging. Like, she figured out how to make life happen under strenuous circumstances and still made it all feel really cool and kept us in like stuff. Like, yeah, I didn't have a JanSport growing up, but I still had a cool backpack. I still had whatever sneakers I was able to get. So is there a moment like that in your lives where you go, oh, shoot?
Ladies first.
I have a big ego. I have a lot of pride. And so that appreciation. I wanted to preface my response because I didn't have a leaving my house at a later age in life story. I dipped at 19 and I never looked back. And I maybe have had moments where I was just like, how the hell were they doing this and being parents?
Yeah.
But no, when I cleared it from my parents' house, I ain't had nothing. There were times I literally did not have anything. I didn't have a pot to piss in.
Rely on
a person?
No, I was about to say $5 Little Caesars.
Bruh.
Oh, hi. Yeah.
I'm trying to bring appreciation for Little Caesars back, because people be talking too much shit about Little Caesars.
Got me through college,
That shit did not do wonders for them.
It got me through.
Yeah, no, I relied on all of the things, and I figured it out. And I've never asked my parents for a dime, a penny, not a damn thing, because of my big ego. But at 30, when I turned 30, it was not the glory 30s that everyone thinks it's going to be. It was
shit was not graceful at all.
It was not. It was probably the worst birthday I've ever had in my life. It was literally just so eye-opening on so many levels because you're like, I'm 30. I'm supposed to be XYZ. All these expectations and all of these insecurities. And by 30, my parents already had 3 kids. They were dealing with this and being parents. I saw them as a man and a woman for the first time and not as parents. I wonder what were things my mom sacrificed as a woman in order to be a wife and a mom. Yeah. I wonder what were some of the things my dad was thinking about at 30 while trying to provide. So that was the first time. It was 30 for me where I was just, oh shit, these are people too? These are not just my mom and my dad. This is Victor y Marisol.
Man and woman.
Yeah. It did help me start this, I don't really know the word, but maybe like addressing roles and how I've been expected to perform my entire life.
Perform as a
daughter, sister, different girlfriend,
roles.
Friend.
Gotcha.
And putting so much value in those performances that when all of those things wither away and now I don't have to be XYZ, oh, who am I?
Yeah.
If I'm not all those things.
Yeah. I don't think I had a particular aha moment. Again, my dad going away when he went away, like literally went away when I was 14, going into my freshman year of high school and then popping out when I'm promoting clubs. You know what I'm saying? I think some of these moments were sprinkled and they still happen. I think a few years ago, dealing with some of the things of, I wish my dad taught me this, or I wish he was this. I wish he gave me more of this. It was a moment where my sister, it was such a very simple thing that she said, yo, our dad is this. He's great at this. He's not great at this. And that's it. And I was just like, oh shit, you are right. These are his strengths. These are his opportunities. And I can't focus on these. That's unfair to him to be like, I wish you were better in these categories, but you're already great at these categories. And again, with life being as beautiful it is, the things that I wanted in my father-in-law provides. I think I've always had grace from my mom. I'll say that. I think I've always, with my father getting locked up, this shit must have been rough. My times are different. I'm definitely not dealing with what she was potentially dealing with. Right. You know what I'm saying? For my father specifically, because there was such a big portion of our life that got cut out. And even post-incarceration, we did not live together. We did not live near each other. There's still now it's better, but there was still a learning process. Even years after him getting out, I think the biggest aha moment was my father was like, oh, you know what? I release you from any kind of resentment I had towards you, because where you lack, or I don't want to say lack, where you have opportunities, I got a bonus dad who fulfills that bucket for me. And I just need to be grateful for the fact that I have the ability to have a bonus father. From that day, I was just like, my pops is who he is. That's it. That might be the biggest aha moment, for me.
I like that.
Yeah.
This is gonna get like existential.
Hey, let's get existential.
It goes again to what I mentioned earlier about these roles.
Right.
And thinking, if we strip away like expectations and our programming of mother, father, sibling, wife, husband, things like that, would we still yearn for whatever that role shows up as? In your moment of clarity, you were able to release your father of these expectations you had on him because of the role he's supposed to play. And when you released it and you allowed yourself to be like, hey, it's okay, this person didn't show up this way, it often makes me think about like, how much easier would life be if we were able to release those expectations from an early onset, instead of having to go through all of this work, and how much of those expectations are placed upon us because of society and what they say a person is supposed to do,
right,
and how they're supposed to show up.
Okay, great question. It's something I think about often. I do beat myself up as a man, right? Like the first question, where do these gender roles come from?
Right.
Who made this shit up? You know what I'm saying? Like, why did this become the baseline and the standard? Eons and eons, we're still trying to abide by. Why can't individuals just be individuals? I do believe a man should lead, right? Doesn't have to be the leader. I believe a man should lead in a relationship, right? Mm-hmm. And I struggle sometimes. I'm like, damn, am I the leader that my wife deserves? Am I the leader that I'm supposed to be? Am I living up to my potential as a leader in this relationship? I struggle with that constantly. But then I look at the typical gender roles thing of men are supposed to do this, women are supposed to do this. And the reason I think about this, I've always been even from a young age, I've always been a sensitive kid. And I've always been soft. And not soft in a sense of you could push me around and get away with it. I've always been soft in terms of if you come to me with something, I'm just like, oh shit, what's wrong? Even you as a man, oh shit, what's wrong? It's never be like, yo, stop being and I don't like to use this word a lot, stop being a bitch and man up.
Tighten up.
It's never that for me. I'm the person that tells my boy, like, hey, bro, cry.
Yeah.
You might need a good cry, dude. Like, I've always been that. I've never looked at these stigmas, I guess you could call them, these things that have been in place for, again, centuries, even down to the things that we do at my house. And like, I wash the clothes, she folds. I do the dishes every now and then. She does the dishes every now and then. In our relationship, we don't have specific gender role. We just, what makes our relationship work? Let's just take care of home. Home is us. Home is our safe space. Let's just take care of home. You know what I'm saying? If, someone starts to feel like they're doing a little bit too much, have the conversation. Hey, I feel like I'm carrying a little bit more of the load than I probably should. What's going on? You know what I'm saying? Talk about it, right? I've always been called too emotional. I've always been called too sensitive.
When's your birthday?
February. Yeah, I'm
You're
Aquarius.
Oh,
I'm Aquarius. Yeah, I'm Aquarius. Yeah. Right before Valentine's. It would have been very fitting if I was a Valentine's Day baby. Very fitting.
Oh my
God,
the albums we would have gotten.
Oh, yo, very fitting. I blame 90s R&B. I blame Boyz II Men, All For One, Drew Hill. That made me, quote unquote, too sensitive. I was always a lover boy back then. And I think because I struggled with being called those things by boys, girls that I was trying to pursue, you name it, they called me it. You know what I'm saying? I think at the time I felt bad, but as I look back on it, I'm like, nah, I think it's a beautiful thing that I'm emotional. We're humans.
Yeah.
We are emotional beings. The fact that you're calling me too emotional to me means you lack emotional understanding. While you're calling me too emotional, maybe I was emotionally understanding and maybe you didn't quite understand it.
Right.
Being too sensitive. No, maybe I was sensitive enough for the situation, but these seeds that are planted at a young age are like, oh, there's something wrong with you. I started looking at, these are like superpowers. Being able to be open and transparent, like that is something that is so strong. Still be, even if you're judged, still be very strong and in your vulnerability. That shit is a superpower, yo. Let people be people. Let them like what they like.
Yeah.
Let them do what they do. Let them be how they be. As long as they're not hurting anyone, as long as they're not imposing any kind of inconvenience on their life, let them be. Yeah. Again, I do feel as a man, there should be some leadership responsibility there.
I think that just kind of comes naturally though, right? So doing things based on just like our natural build. So men lead just because in your DNA, you are hunters. So that like, these are things that instinctually.
I never hunted a shit in my life, yeah.
But you provide.
Right.
So the hunting evolved into providing, right?
Yeah.
And women were naturally nurturing and caring.
Yeah.
So it's a lot of things that should just feel instinctual as opposed to, as we're saying, these things that are imposed.
We're just obsessed with checking off boxes.
We're obsessed with labels.
Bro,
because even in trying to not be a label, we've still provided a label for the label. It's.
I hear everybody be like, oh, you don't want to be out in these streets in 2025. You don't want to do this, yada, yada, yada. And I hear that and I'm just like, I don't know what it looks like out there. I don't know what it feels like. But to me, at the baseline, it's just stop trying to check off boxes and just trust your instincts when you're around the person. How do you feel? What's your comfort level?
And I'm going to take that a step further. In women specifically, doing that a lot more is why we're currently living in an era where there are so many single women who are content
with being single. Yeah, they do not want to open up.
Because when you strip away the roles that men should be fitting as provider and XYZ, okay, you take that all away, all you have to do is show up more on the moral and value side, and you're not, then I'll fucking be alone.
Right.
Because
Exactly.
I took everything else away. Don't worry about all that stuff. Don't worry about the money and the cars and that. Now I'm just focused on your morals and your values.
Yeah.
And we can see you now. We've stripped away everything, the facade. We see you for who you are.
Down to the core.
And we're not really liking what we see.
Yeah. It's funny that you said that. A lot of people are like, yo, like, I see you and your wife. Y'all always laughing. Y'all having fun. I like my wife.
Simple.
It's as simple as it sounds. Just knowing humans and understanding humans. People want companionship. I think people need to stop lying and be like, oh, I'm cool with...
No, 100%.
Admit you want a
We
little
love
buddy.
human connection.
Yeah, come on, you want companionship.
Yes.
It's okay to admit this shit. And also another thing, we need to normalize saying people like, I like attention. Like, yo, just say you like attention. Like, it's okay. It's okay. Stop it.
How dare you?
Stop it. Just say you like, I like the attention. It's okay. You don't got to post subliminals on your Instagram that you newly single. Like, just say, I want the attention. I like it. It's okay. Do it.
I love it.
It is okay. Normalize that shit. Because I tell you, once you normalize saying, I like attention, you're not going to get subliminals anymore. It's just going to be blatant. And just like, okay, cool, done. But I digress. Again, going back to people are trying to check off boxes and not trusting instincts. They're not trusting their gut. I'll be honest with you, guy trips, I'm out. Because I want to come home to my bed and I want to come, I like my wife, I like spending time, I like being around her.
Yeah.
And I think that people get into relationships for wrong reasons. That's why they don't end up working out.
Right.
And I think a lot of people, whether they want to admit it or not, do not like their spouses. Yes, they love them.
Right.
They've learned
They're two separate
they've
things.
learned to love them. They grew to love them. But strip all that away. Do you like your spouse? And I'm sure some will say,
I don't disagree. You guys touched on a lot.
Yes.
But from the standpoint of what Roxy was getting at,
welcome to growing up with an identity crisis.
one, going to your point in regards to like the boxes, the roles, the constraints that we live by, I think those get broken once we start asking, who does this person need? If you just start there, right? Who does my son need as a father? Who does my wife need as a husband? Who
right.
does my brother need as a brother? These are things that you should be asking yourself, and that changes the scope of relationships as a whole, right?
Yeah.
People are looking for their boxes to be checked, but not validating that they're checking the boxes that this person may need.
Yeah.
If you're going to do that, or if you're going to operate that way, then understand what is it that this woman is looking for. Do I actually match these things?
Am I being realistic?
Am I being realistic with
Right.
myself? Can I actually meet these standards? And if not, hey, I don't want to waste your time. I think you're an amazing person. I hope you find somebody who does meet what you're looking for.
Yeah.
And move on and call it a day. And from the standpoint of whether it's a woman, man, whatever the case is, like both parties should be asking, how can I be of service to you? And that's how relationships end up being something that is beautiful and cultivate this great space. Now, the last thing that I want to touch on is you liking your wife and us saying, yo, these guys don't even like women. These guys pretend they like women.
Right.
And what I mean by that is like, you like the benefit of a woman, the things that she brings to and with you.
Yeah.
Same for on the other side, right? Like women like the benefit of men. Oh, I have someone to protect.
Yeah, it
I have
could go
someone
both
to
ways, absolutely.
spend the money on the check,
Yep,
the
yep,
$200 dates.
Yep.
There's someone to do that. So that's great. But you don't like that guy. You don't really care for his personality. You have no interest in the things that he's passionate about, vice versa. And that's why your relationship is, okay, so where are we going out to eat? Where are we going out to...
That's why you saw a lot of couples not surviving COVID.
Right.
Yeah, like
Because now we have to look at each other.
A lot of these things that we distracted ourselves with were not present. And then we're like, oh shit.
This is you?
I have to sit here in this living room with you?
Yeah.
And
crazy.
ironically enough, my wife and I got together right at the top of COVID and we did the complete opposite. It was the ultimate test that we never asked. I think we had an idea of, oh, we're good. But that moment, 2020, really was like, oh shit, we're locked in, yo. It was the most unnatural experience for us.
I just know my girl over there kikiing and cheesing. Yes, because wifey is in the building. I can feel it. I feel it. Like,
What the kids do now?
Yeah. Like, I be trying to say tap in with the kids, like, okay. Yeah. Hey, you see the R roll? Okay. Hey, I do it, baby. I do it. Yo, like, when we talk about communities, and not just the Black community, the Hispanic community, the Jewish community, like, when we talk about community, when we're on these streets together, that is a communal experience. We have a responsibility to look out for one another. I'll be honest with you. I do fear that if my wife is out without me and something happens, it doesn't have to be like deadly or anything like that. Is someone going to come to her aid the way that I probably would come to someone else's aid?
you know what's so crazy? I have this irrational fear. Something's going to happen to me in my house and no one's going to know for 4 or 5 days. And that is like a real fear that I have, especially because I watch a lot of true crime things and I love horror movies. And I just be thinking like, I just be like, and it comes from one, like the fear of no one's going to know, but also no one's going to care enough to have checked on me. And I'm going to have been here for this many days. Whatever had happened, no one's going to have cared enough to check.
Let's cap, because we talk every day, so I don't know what you're talking about. The second your ass don't respond to me, I'm like, hello, excuse me, hi, anybody here? Okay.
No, for real.
But there's something real in that. And I want to tap into that. I don't know if it was the last show or the show before. I said, yo, I know I'm not alone. And not only because I sleep with my wife, but yo, I feel alone. That feeling is valid. Your core, you're not alone.
Right.
But there is a loneliness that is looming.
I think that goes back to your thought on community, though, in like how society's pushed towards
individualism, bro. I think people, oh, what do I call it? Main character syndrome.
Everyone.
I think everyone thinks they're the fucking main character of their situation, bro. But we, again, going back, we are selfish. Look at the way that we drive. You got motherfucker going from far right lane to far left lane and don't give a shit if they take out 9 people. Don't give a shit. Look at the way, bro, if you go in the gym, nobody cleans shit.
Yeah.
If you go in a community that you share a dumpster, you don't care if the trash gets thrown out properly.
Right.
No, we don't give it, like, yo, we truly do not give a shit about one another anymore.
Yeah.
We have become a very selfish society in a time where we should probably be the most unselfish. We should probably be the most compassionate. We should probably be the most understanding. Don't get me wrong. I think we live in a time where, yes, culturally, Black people need to preserve their community. Hispanic people within Puerto Ricans, Dominicans, Nicaraguans, Peruvians, yes, there is a responsibility there. But don't forget, as we're walking on the street with one another, as we are driving with one another, as we are at sporting events, concerts, that is also a communal experience. So we have a responsibility to make sure that you get home to your husband, you get home to your wife, you get home to your parents. And I think that shit is completely, that concept is just completely lost in our society.
And I think now more than ever, I think there's starting to become an awareness of what's happening with immigrants wanting to protest and the Hispanic community, wanting a lot of people to allies.
Fuck ICE.
And there's a lot
Facts,
of
big time
people within the Black community. Why are you calling on us? We've been talking about this shit.
Right.
We've been trying to protest.
Right.
We showed up at the polls.
Right.
Why are you now saying, where are the
y'all?
Black community? Black Lives Matter, we matter too, da, da, da. So now you're seeing how important it is for communities to support each other. Because while not all, right, we don't want blanket statements and generalized statements, but there is a huge moment for the Hispanic community to come to the realization that you did not want to join the fight when it was Black Lives Matter. And it was very much turning a blind eye and very much, at least it's not us.
At least it's not like, oh, that sucks for y'all.
What up? You know what I mean?
Hate that y'all are going through it, but.
And now the Black community does know how to protest. The Black community does know how to organize. Been doing this. It would be amazing for them to help our community and ally with us because they can teach us things. But y'all squandered that. And rightly so, that the Black community is, I don't know about y'all, but it's summer vacation. I'm going to the beach.
Why is it always on the shoulders or backs of the Black community to come to someone's aid. They've organized. They figured out how to support one another. Now, it's again just
and then I'm even seeing it within. Again, to even go further into it, I'm seeing people focus, like hyper focus on within the Hispanic communities to a certain country. Oh, Mexican people, let's all get together. Oh, Puerto Rican people, let's all get together. Oh, Cuban people, let's all get together. No, hello, this is happening to everyone. This isn't about, oh, now all our Mexican brothers and sisters, we need to get, no. This is exactly why this is happening. Because within the Hispanic community, there's so much division that is not only about ethnicity, it's also about race. This is how we get here.
Bro, I love this. I didn't have to say anything. You're just like, I was sitting there doing the Kabi
my dog is like,
and it's so frustrating because I'm like, are you that dense? Are you missing the point, the bigger picture? Like this divide, this I'm better than you because I'm closer in whiteness, or I don't have to worry about this because I can blend in. Like this exact divide, even if we go into the immigrant process, I'm Puerto Rican, and so there is a misconception that because Puerto Ricans are born U.S. citizens and we don't have an immigration process, that like we are not also possibly caught up in this shit. Listen, we're a colony. At any point in time, that man could say, I'm signing this executive order
where
that
y'all are,
Puerto Ricans are no longer U.S. citizens, right? Like
they're
this
trying to
really
revise
happen.
history.
And so this idea that we're preserved, right?
There's no safety.
You got to join this fight too, baby.
No
like, what are you doing? And also,
you have immigrants that became legal citizens
that are getting picked up and getting shipped out, and you're just like, I did the process because everyone's all of a sudden everyone wants things to be legal. You should have came here legally, bro. You got traffic tickets. You ain't living legally. Like everyone over here is all of a sudden everyone is #1 U.S. citizen in the world, living life by all the rules, and so now immigrants should have done things legally.
You see what you did?
Yeah, you get me, honey.
This is what happens when
look what you did.
Growing up with an identity crisis, baby.
I just, because we're going to take a break real quick. But before we do, man, I feel like I'm not obliged to say something. I want to say something here. I think from the standpoint of, and I can't speak for all black folk. I can't even speak to slavery and all those things in between because the heritage my family is from, we were never slaves. Like Haitians were never slaves. We understand rebellion. We understand revolt. We understand the fight of, yo, we are a catalyst to what can be, right? And when I think part of the black plight is when you look at Haitians, it's like the perfect example of how the world treats black people because the world forgets that Haitians are the reason the entire Caribbean is free. Like when you simply put it, DR is free because Haitians revolted here and showed everyone a way to kill slaves.
Again, like the catalyst.
There's the same with us and our relationship with the Puerto Ricans and the Tainos and all the things in between. The history is there. The history is missing and not taught because if I teach you your true power, then you know you revolt. You know what that looks like. You understand how this battle could actually be. The parties that are at arms or at bay in the sense of, hey, I'm controlling whatever the atmosphere is. All I have to do is tell a Cuban, you're not a Puerto Rican. All I have to do is tell a Puerto Rican, you're not a Venezuelan. All I have to do is tell a Venezuelan, you're not a Peruvian. And now everyone's sitting there going, right?
I'm better than you, I'm better than you, I'm better than you, I'm better.
It's the same in the black world in the sense of all you have to do is tell a Caribbean black person, you're not a black American.
Black American, yep.
You're a black American, you're not a black African. But I say all that to say, man, if you haven't, please read the autobiography of Malcolm X. And I think it's important that everyone does, white, Hispanic, black, whatever the case is, because he at some point gets to the understanding of there's a human plight happening. And our common enemy on the other side is pulling all the strings and playing all of us as the puppets and the dolls and the things in between. And you guys have to at some point stick together and figure out how to get forward as humans. Transparently, as a black person, I'll say this too. I understand us being tired because when we are out there fighting and we are doing the things that we're supposed to be doing, no one's showing up except for us, and it's not my problem. Going back to, and then stop here, people are looking at Israel and what they're doing to Gaza, and Iran is now saying, hey, it's up for you because you started whatever the case is. And now everyone's, oh, wait, no, poor Israel. We can't, poor Israel. And what I mean by that is the same way someone could look at Gaza and say, that's happening, it's not happening to me, it's not my business. It's the same exact way that everyone could watch what's happening with Iran and go, Israel, that's not my business. The point being is it doesn't stop because of whatever gender, race, religion, creed you come from. The reality is if it can happen to that human, it can happen to you as a human. That's the basis of the Holocaust. It's all this shit is connected and people miss the message. So I say all that to say, like, as a Black person on this podcast, I'm here as someone learning, but I'm also here as someone hoping to educate. And I think that's part of the allyship that the Black community could have. But when I sit here and do the work and then I see Cubans vote against the work that we're doing, why would I?
I know we're supposed to break and go to our sponsors, but again, going back to the compassion and the communal experience, it's easier said than done because I want to be compassionate for my next person, but how did I vote for this with you in mind and you're voting for this with that person not in mind?
There's a term for that in the human condition where we know bad things can happen. We can see it happen next to us, but for some reason our brain doesn't compute that it'll happen to us. I'm gonna look that word up during our break so that I can come back with what that term is. There's a term for that. We're gonna take a break and we'll be right back. Stay tuned next week as we bring you part 2 of this conversation.
Yo soy boricua.